Hello again. This time around, I've got a movie that some people may think shouldn't be on this, but I asked some of the members of the community, and they said it's fine to have a documentary so long as it's based in horror. And this one certainly is. This is Horror Noire, The History of Black Horror. Now, this one was really good, and as far as the 2019 movies and such that I have seen, this is actually pretty high up there. And as the title would suggest, it's about the history of black horror. And it basically starts from A Birth of a Nation and ends with Get Out. But it's talking about all the movies in between and the parallels between black culture and horror films, and also the big influences that horror has had, or rather, more of the reflection it's had on what's been going on. But it's also had some very pivotal items to talk about. The Birth of a Nation, well, most people probably would hear about that and not think horror film. By today's standards, it is, because it's all about the evils of the African American and the Klansmen being the righteous ones who come to help save white people from black people. And that's a very old movie, and it's certainly not something that you ever see aired on television today. It is extremely racist and skews the image of the black community to such an extent that it was considered to be one of the films that had really brought about the rise of the Klansmen and their popularity and even acceptance. But it also goes through the various stages of things that are going through and the impact that A Night of the Living Dead had on the community, especially since it aired shortly after Martin Luther King's assassination. It talked about black exploitation films, about things that we really wouldn't consider to, or I wouldn't consider, and I'm sure a lot of Caucasian people wouldn't consider to be something that was a direct slam on black people, like the use of gorillas in a lot of movies around a certain time period when they weren't using blackface or using people who were stereotypical black people. They were using caricatures that were essentially, you had gorillas. They even reference how the creature from the Black Lagoon had the lips and the face that was very representative of some extreme caricatures of African Americans. And the thing is, there's a lot of stuff here I wouldn't think about, and some of it when I heard the creature from the Black Lagoon thing, I thought that was a little ridiculous. But then again, I'm looking at this as an outsider, and around the time period that the creature from the Black Lagoon came out, there were things like, well, you should watch the documentary because they mention a certain shrimp company that I cannot say the name of without getting into serious trouble. But they're talking about the way certain heroes come out, like Ben from Night of the Living Dead, and Blackula, and the protagonist from Get Out, and how they impact, but also how they parallel a lot of things that are going on in society. They're talking about the ups and downs and all that. It was really eye opening and gave me a new perspective on a ton of movies that I thought I knew pretty well. And any documentary that can change your scope of understanding is certainly doing its job right. But I haven't really watched a lot of documentaries, and I'm not quite sure how to really rate one. So I'm going to leave this without a rating, but I'm going to say that it is well worth watching. And it is a fantastic piece that has several celebrities that you may recognize, like Tony Todd, for instance, and let me just bring up a list here because I cannot remember the names right offhand. I remember Tony Todd, but I cannot remember. There's a lot of people that were in this that that I remember their faces. I just can't ever remember their names. Yeah. Moesha Bean, Ashley Blackwell, Robin R. Means Coleman, William Crane, Rusty. I can't pronounce his last name. Keith David, Loretta Devine, Ernest R. Dickerson. Yeah. Ken Fourier, he was in that. Richard Lawson, Tina Madry. Yeah, there was a lot of people that I would never recognize them by name, but by face, I do recognize them. And I'm sure you would too. There are a lot of people that I remember from movies. There's particular characters, like you have, obviously, you got Candyman. You've got... I don't think... No, I'm mixing up people again. But in Friday Part 5, the black guy in the bathroom that's assaulted by fake Jason. You've also got that one guy from Return of the Living Dead who said that when if you were not looking at Linnea Quigley's naked body, you would see him bug-eyed going... But yeah, they talked a lot about all these things that I never thought of, and how cinema has shown the progression and regression of the society in regards to black people. And like I said, give it a watch. It was fantastically done, and I love any tribute to horror. So, almost forgot to mention this because I'm trying to rush through these as best as I can. As far as the 31-day challenge goes, I've got Tony Todd as one of the starring members, and this is a 2019 movie, so I get to check one of those off. So I just wanted to get that out of there because I didn't want to forget this. I'll see you in the next one. I got plenty of movie reviews to catch up on, so see you next time.